Hey there everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today we'll see what is web API routing and how to use in our web API application. So here we go. What is web API routing? So web API routing is a technique which is used to route an incoming HTTP request to a particular action method of web API controller. And if you guys wondering like what is action method, I have explained in my earlier video, like the video number 5. So how to configure web API. In that video I have explained what is web API action method. Please go ahead and look at that and come back to this video. So these are the types of web API routing. So one is conventional routing and second one is attribute routing. So if you see, the register method of web API config.cs contains the configuration for the routing. So if you see, this single line will enable the attribute routing. We'll see that attribute routing in a moment. And this one is the conventional based routing. So this portion here will support conventional based routing, right? So in conventional based routing, web API uses route templates to determine which controller and action method to execute. Okay, at least one route template must be added into a route table in order to handle various HTTP requests. So this is the default API, which is one route. It is adding to route table. So if you see in this one, so this one is the attribute routing enabler, and this one will enable conventional based routing. And if you see, the config.routes is a route table or route collection of type HTTP route collection. So default API here, the default API route is added to a route table using map HTTP route extension method, right? So likewise we can create multiple routes. So we'll see that in a moment. Okay, so this conventional based routing supports different kind of parameters. Like here you can see the name, route template and defaults. You can have the constraints and handler as well. So the constraint is like you can specify a regular expressions to characterize the route values and all. So let's see this in practical way here. So this specific portion will enables attribute routing and this one enables conventional based routing, right? So here you can see the API. So this is the route template we are considering. So the API and controller name and ID, right? So here if you see, so this is the default controller which we have in our web API application. So I'm running it. Just build is started. Let's see. In the meanwhile, Let's launch Postman. So I'm copying this URL and I'm going back to Postman here. Let's close this. Just put here get. I'm just replacing it and I'm typing API slash values. So why I am typing API slash values is, like, if you can see here I am having a route template like API slash controller name. So controller name is values I'm typing, and ID which is optional. So if you give ID, it will take it, otherwise it will ignore the ID parameter. So why? Because it's optional here. If you going back to here, I'm just hitting it send. So you can see value 1 and value 2 here, right? Okay, in this we are returning a string array which have value 1 and value 2, right? So here with the same one overridden with ID. So if you going back to here in the Postman, just slash, I'm giving ID is 5. So now it will return the value. So if you coming back to here, so it's returning value. So if you want to see the value with the ID as well, let me debug it here. So I'm clicking again here. So I'm changing it. Let's say ID, and I'm giving just a space. I'm saving it, clicking continue. So you can see the value 5. So I'm giving it 5 and I'm appending ID here, right? So you can post from the body and you can post ID. So the put method is like updating a specific string value which have the ID, the particular ID, and this deleting will delete the record which contains a specific ID. We'll see these things in our later video sessions. So this is all about conventional based routing, like so this one. So the name and the route template which we are giving the format of URL, and the defaults, like we can give ID, main, default things. Like here I'm giving the default thing is like ID, route parameter is optional. And you can have multiple routes configured here. Let's say let me stop it. Let's say here let me duplicate it, Control C, something wrong with my PC, and I'm pasting it here. So let's okay, so I'll give here employee. So this is called employee, route name is employee. So here it's saving a route into a route table using map http route extension method with the name employee, right? So here I am giving like emp and id, right? So in the defaults, I have kept id is optional, and let me add one more thing here. Let's say constraints, like I have told you. Here we'll have different kinds of parameters you can pass. Like if we say a new object and id equal to, let's say, /d less. So if you pass an id, it should be an integer. /d means it should be an integer. So we are giving constraint here, like a regular expression. So id should be an integer, we are telling. So like this you can pass, you can configure multiple routes. So but remember, you can have multiple routes, but the default route should be last, right? So the default route should be last. So if the web API haven't found any matching routes, it will take a default route. So that's why it should be in the last position of all the routes, right? So if this also doesn't match, it returns 404 with the error code 404. So this is all about conventional based routing, and now we'll see attribute routing here. Let me go ahead and add controller. I'm just commenting out here, so let's keep things simple. I'm just commenting out here. Let me go ahead and add the controller here. Let's say, just right click on it, add, click on controller. So I am typing web API to controller empty, click OK. Here I am typing employee controller. Okay. So it's got created. So employee controller, which is derived from API controller. This is a base class, right? So let me add a method here. Let's say a get method, so which is returning, let's say a public get method, which is returning enumerable of strings, right? Enumerable of strings. So let me return new string array. Let's say Raj and Krishna. Okay, so I'm returning strings here. So what is attribute routing in the sense? Here we have to give a route, a specific route, like route in this, let's say API slash student slash sorry, we have created an employee, right? So let's take employee slash names. So whenever you give this kind of route in a postman, it will return these things. So let's see. I'm running it. So build is started. And in API, you can see the employee which we created just now, and this is the route. So what I am doing is I am copying the route and I am going back to a postman, just removing this thing and pasting it here, hit. So here it's returning enumerable of strings, which is Raj and Krishna. We have written it out there, right? So this is all about API routing, web API routing. So that's all for this video. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please go ahead and subscribe, so it motivates me, like I can do more videos like this. That's all guys, that's all for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you.